back to Legal Brain. Today, I'm going to discuss yet another important area, and that is factors vitiating free consent. So, in today's class, I'm going to discuss about what do you mean by consent, what do you mean by free consent, what are the factors that takes away consent from a contract. So, look into the screen and try to understand. So, before going into the factors vitiating free consent, I will be discussing about what do you mean by consent. So, first of all, we have to know what is consent. Section 13 of Indian Contract Act 1872, which speaks about consent, the meaning of consent. And Section 13 says that when two or more parties or like persons are said to consent when they agree upon the same thing in the same sense. For example, myself and you, the offerer and the offeree, we are going to enter into a contract. I'm going to sell a particular thing and you're going to purchase it. How to say that there is consent between we two, the parties? We can say, according to Section 13, that when there is consent, which means we both should be thinking about the same thing in the same sense. Example, I will give you a very simple example. I'm gonna sell my car and I'm having two cars. One is white in color, one is red in color. And I'm planning to sell my white car and you're thinking about that I'm gonna sell my red car and you're willing to purchase. So in this situation, in my mind, I'm thinking about selling the white car. In your mind, you are thinking about buying the red color car. There is no meeting of mind between myself and you. We are thinking about different things. It is not like the same thing in the same sense. So this is the meaning, There should be identity of mind. We both should be thinking about the same thing in the same sense. And we call it as consensus ad idem. The meaning is identity of mind or meeting of mind, and which is very necessary by virtue of Section 13. So we call it as we do have consent because if we believe in the same things, we understand the same thing in the same sense. So that is the meaning of consent. Now, how to say that the consent is free in nature? So free consent is defined under Section 14 of Indian Contract Act, and it says that what do you mean by free consent? So free consent meaning is that whenever two parties enter into a contract, it is said to be like free. The consent is free when there is there is no coercion, when there is no undue influence, fraud, misrepresentation, mistake, we can say that the consent is free in nature by virtue of Section 14. So the meaning is that whenever any of these elements are there in a contract, then there is no free consent. So that's why we call it as factors vitiating free consent, the factors that takes away the consent from a contract. So these elements should not be there in a contract. And if it is there, the meaning is that the consent is not free in nature. And what will be the effect of this particular, agreement or the contract? The meaning is that will be an avoidable contract. The meaning is that we can, the party can avoid it or the party can cancel it at the option of the party. So if I am forcing you to enter into a contract, you entered into a contract. The meaning is the consent. Your consent is not free in nature. And if you enter, it is an avoidable contract. You can actually avoid it at the option of the party or the option of yourself. So now you can look into the screen. I have, shown a flow chart. So it will be very easy for you to understand what are the factors that takes away consent. One is coercion, defined under Section 15. Next is undue influence, Section 16. Misrepresentation, Section 17 and 18. Again, misrepresentation is divided into two categories: fraudulent misrepresentation, willful misrepresentation, innocent or unintentional misrepresentation. Next is mistake. Mistakes are classified into two: mistake of fact and mistake of law. So in exam point of view, you may get a question like, what are the different types of mistake? So answer is mistake of fact and mistake of law. And you may get a question like, what is the difference between coercion and undue influence? Or you may get a question like, what is, fraud and what is the difference between fraud and misrepresentation and so on. So these are the different elements which takes away the consent. So first, I'm going to discuss about coercion. What do you mean by coercion? What is the definition? How it affects a contract and so on. So Section 15 of Indian Contract Act speaks about coercion and says that I'm going to discuss about the meaning of coercion by virtue of Section 15. And it says that coercion is committing an act or threatening to commit an act which is forbidden by Indian Penal Code, that is IPC. or unlawful detention, or like detaining a property or threatening to detain a property of a person with an intention of causing any person to enter into an agreement. I'll make it very simple to understand. The thing is that, for example, myself, I am committing an act which is forbidden by law. Forbidden by law is, restricted by law, which is treated as an offense. Example, I am, I kidnapped somebody. I did an act. I did kidnapping, which is an offense, which is forbidden by law, which is restricted by law, which is falling under IPC as an offense. So if I am kidnapping somebody, I kidnap somebody, or if I am threatening that I will kidnap, which happens in future. So I am doing something, or I am threatening that I may or I will do this particular thing in future, which is treated as an offense under IPC, then the meaning is we have done coercion. And or like unlawful detention, I'm detaining the property. I am just taking away the property from you. I'm like, detaining. I'm unlawfully detaining. It's illegally, I'm detaining a property. I'm threatening that I'll detain your property. All these things I am doing to get your consent. For example, I kidnapped, or I'm threatening that I will kidnap you if you didn't enter into this particular contract. Or like, I am telling that I will murder you. So all these are the offense, like rape, kidnap, murder, dacoity. I mean, whatever be the offense, I am committing, I'm doing that act of or the offense, or I am threatening, I'm blackmailing you that I will do this if you didn't enter into the particular contract. Then if you are signing in the document, if you are entering into the contract, that means your consent is not free in nature. I have done coercion and you have entered into the contract, and the effect will be it's an avoidable contract. That means you can avoid it at the option of the party. So in total, the meaning, what I'm trying to tell you is that whenever there is coercion, then there is no free consent from your side. The consent should always be free in nature by virtue of Section 14 of Indian Contract Act. So this is the meaning of coercion. If you do have any doubt, do comment below. I'll be replying to your comment. Next is the effect of coercion. It's defined under Section 19. As I've already told you, the contract becomes voidable at the option of the party whose consent is so obtained. Like I'm telling you, I'll kidnap you if you didn't enter into the contract, and you enter into the contract. What is the effect of the contract? You can actually avoid the option of yourself. So if you want to cancel it, you can actually cancel it. And the burden of proving that the consent was obtained through coercion shall be upon the party who wants to set aside the contract or the plea of the, this particular thing. And next, I'm going to discuss about undue influence, which is the next, important element that takes away the consent from the parties, and that's defined in the Section 16 of Indian Contract Act 1872. And undue influence is actually different from coercion. Coercion was all about threatening and threatening to commit an act or doing an offense and detention and all these things. Undue influence is different from that, and undue influence is the improper use of any power possessed over the minds of the contracting party according to Section 16. So the meaning is that, for example, I am in a position and I'm trying to dominate you. Look into the screen. The relations subsisting between the parties are such that one of the parties is in a position to dominate the will of the other. Like I am in a position to dominate you. That means to influence you, to make you to change your decision, your opinion on something. And I will be using that position to obtain an unfair advantage over the other. That means I will be using my influence, my power, I'll be in the upper position, dominating position, and I will be trying to dominate you and change your opinion. So that is the meaning of undue influence. And look into the screen. There are certain set of people, these are examples. For example, doctor and a patient. So in this example, the doctor is in a dominating position when you compare a doctor with a patient. And patient will be in a lower position and doctor will be in an upper position, in a dominating position. So doctor will be in a position to influence the patient and change the patient's decision. For example, a doctor is suggesting, you please enter into the contract. The patient will obviously enter because the doctor is in a dominating position. So when you look about the concept of doctor, lawyer, guardian, trustee, or a teacher, all these people holds an upper hand, a dominating position when you compare it with the patient, client, ward, beneficiary, or a student. So whenever, then these kind of relationships are called fiduciary relationship, which means, one person will be in a dominating position to influence the other person. So if that is the situation, and the party is influencing, causing an undue influence, and the other party is entering into the contract or the agreement, it is stated that there is undue influence, and the contract is again avoidable in nature, can be avoided at the option of the party. Now I'm going to discuss about what is the difference between coercion and undue influence. We have discussed about coercion, we have discussed about undue influence. Now the difference. This can be, a short essay question, an exam point of view. So the first one is that the consent of the aggrieved party is taken by committing or threatening to commit any act forbidden by IPC. When it comes to coercion, yeah, the person is committing an act or threatening to commit an act by virtue of Section 15. When you check undue influence, the first point is that the consent of the aggrieved party obtained by dominating parties by taking an unfair advantage. There is no threatening, there is no using of power. It is purely influencing by a dominant person over the other person. The second point is physical forces are exercised. Obviously, you are kidnapping. Physically, you are using a force. You are killing someone. You're committing murder. Physical force is using. So, there is a physical force, Second point is when it comes to undue influence, there is no physical force. It's moral force. Mentally, you are influencing the other party to enter into a contract. There is no physical force. It's only mental force. Sorry, mentally, yeah, moral force. The third point is that relationship between the promiser and the promisor is not necessary. In case of coercion, the offerer and offeree, there need not to be any relationship between these two parties. But when it comes to undue influence, some sort of relationship must exist between two parties to the contract. That means the relationship will be fiduciary in nature. Like I have mentioned, like, doctor, patient, lawyer, client, there is a relationship between them. So the parties will be in such a relationship and the person will be dominating over the other party. So these are the difference between coercion and undue influence. This can be a short, question in exam point of view. Next is the landmark case law. The first one is Allcard versus Skinner, 1887 case, which falls under the concept of undue influence. And I'll discuss the facts of the case and the judgment. You can screen and try to understand. It's very simple. In Allcard versus Skinner, the plaintiff joined sisterhood. Sisterhood means you can consider it like, the church nuns, okay? Think it like that. So the plaintiff joined sisterhood in 1862. Between 1871 and 1878, the plaintiff gifted her properties to Mother Superior of the sisterhood in 1879. And she left the sisterhood after 6 years and she filed a suit for setting aside the gifts of the properties on the ground of undue influence. So the meaning is that one lady, she joined sisterhood in the year of 1862, and after some time she quit. She just came outside the sisterhood concept, and when she was in sisterhood, she gifted all her property to the superior person, the Mother Superior person, the head of the the institution or whatever be that. She gifted all the properties to that Mother Superior. So once when she came out the sisterhood, once she left sisterhood, when she quit it, she filed a case stating that there was undue influence. There was no free consent from that lady. When you look into the relationship between that lady and the lady and the Mother Superior, there is, a dominating position when it comes to the part of the Mother Superior. She is in a dominating position than the lady. The relationship is fiduciary in nature and she's in a dominating position. So court held that there is undue influence, but she didn't get the property because she filed the case very late, that there is Limitation Act and she crossed it. So she didn't get the property, but court held that there is undue influence. And the next case is Mannu Singh versus Umadat, that is 1890 case. And in this case, what happened is that a spiritual advisor induced the plaintiff mentally, influence the plaintiff as devotee to gift him the whole of the property to secure benefits in the other world. So this things really happen, when it comes to the the spiritual leaders and the devotees, they are in position to influence these kind of people and make them to enter into a contract. So the same thing happened, and the person filed a case and stated that the consent was held to be obtained by undue influence. So these are the two cases. One is Allcard versus Skinner. Next is Mannu Singh versus Umadat. And these two cases are very important landmark cases when it comes to undue influence. So I have discussed about the meaning of consent, the meaning of free consent, which section speaks about that, what is coercion, what is undue influence, the difference between that, and the landmark case. So I hope it's clear for you. In next class, I'll be discussing about the next other factors influencing the free consent. If you do have any doubt, do comment below and do subscribe Legal Brain for more classes. Thank you for listening to me.